Introducing the Fantasy Sport Doctors with your hosts, Dr. Mitch Brecky, boom, Dr. Nick Curry, and Dr. Nick Healy. Welcome to the clinic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
Hey! Welcome.
I love it, Nick. I love the enthusiasm.
Week 6, we're ready for it.
Oh, I'm excited for another week.
Week 5 was good for us.
Yes, it was.
I know why Nick's so excited.
I've got multiple reasons why I'm excited.
Nick's mom's here. Nick's mom's here, everyone.
Well, she's a beautiful lady.
I never know what she's doing back there.
Meatloaf! Love it.
Dr. Healy, tell us a little bit about your lineups last week.
Well, once again, I was in the win column. I pulled off thank you. Pulled off a $100 double up to win.
$100 double up, nice.
To win $200 in my pocket. I also, in one of my tournaments on DraftKings, I scored 198 points to bring home another 25. So overall, it was very successful. I would like to also mention, if you were watching last week, Dr. Curry and I had a little wager.
We did.
Against the Vikings in Houston, and Vikings took home the meat.
You're telling me Brock Osweiler sucks?
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's awful. And I'm also telling you, I'm a little disappointed that you didn't bring a beer to Shotgun.
Little under the weather this week. Don't worry, it's gonna happen as soon as I get back to my old self. I just need to be adjusted a few times.
Okay.
Just need that natural health care to get me back to.
Well,
to where
I'm making a statement. There's not going to be a single bet being played until the debt will be paid.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's fine. And I'm only doing, just to clarify, I'm only doing one shotgun because I won a bet against you this weekend, I believe.
I don't remember that.
It was about Randall Cobb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Healy hates Randall Cobb, and he did okay this weekend.
It was about time. He was due.
Yeah.
How did you guys do in your lineups this week?
Well, I did good. I won like $40 this week. I think we're all on the consensus now that we should be doing some cash games.
A little bit more cash games in our mix. I think we're going to be doing. I ended up winning about $26, $27 in 3 wins. So I won a $12 winner in a huge tournament, and 19 in another. And I was in above the top 1%. So you're getting up to, it's tough to really break into the thousands, but it was good lineups.
We were talking about
one player didn't hit, and
we were talking about this last week. We were in the top 1% in a tournament game, and we only won $10 on a $3 buy-in bet, which means to win big money in top tournament games, you have to be like unbelievably good or astronomically high
and lucky
on every pick, and very lucky. Yeah, you basically have to hit every one if you want to make a ton of money. So I think that's why we're all kind of leaning more towards putting some more money down in the cash games this week, right?
Yep. Well, hey, Dr. Nick, since you're not quenching your thirst with a nice natty ice, what are you drinking today?
I'm going a little classier than natty ice. We got some bent hop. Bent paddle, bent hop. It's right out of Duluth, Minnesota, which Dr. Healy and I both know very well. Both went to undergrad at UMD. So
I may have had 1, 2, or 100 bent paddles when I was up there.
Oh, all in one day?
Well,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. So we love bent paddle, boys. We gonna cheers this? What do you got there,
I'm
Mitch?
still going with Mr. Green's homebrew. We had a couple left from last week.
Mr. Green's homebrew.
Mr. Green's homebrew.
And
don't ask what's in it.
I'm rocking a Lock and Dam by Greenbelt. Thank you, boys.
Cheers, everyone. All right. Subjective. Last week, obviously, we've kind of been going over it, but we want to highlight some of the players that we actually called out in our flat lines, our fight or flight picks, and our essential picks. Last week, I was super high on a guy named Sammy Coates.
Sammy Coates!
How'd that end up for you?
Oh, that was just...
I tell you what, that was a great call on your part. That was a great call.
I'm going to give myself a swing.
Oh, my God.
Love it. So, Sammy Coates went off 2 touchdowns. Should have had, 4 touchdowns?
Yeah.
But he cut his finger, so I don't know if that's really why he dropped the ball.
My fingers hurt.
No, your back's going to hurt. You just pulled landscaping duty.
So, he went off. He had, 35 DraftKings points. I think he was only, 30 $500 or $600. So easily outperformed. And if you had him in your lineups in tournaments or cash games, you were already off to a great start on winning money.
Yeah.
Go right.
I'll take it away. Some of my picks from last week. My essential plays in tournaments was Tom Brady. Ended up doing very well.
Cash, homie.
Now, he definitely, he threw 4 touchdowns. And who did he throw him to? Who was my fight or flight player? Martellus Bennett. Thank you very much.
Boom.
3 of those touchdowns went to Martellus. Yes, I did like it a lot. Those were the lineups that I did win money in. So
Love it.
And if you listen to me, to sit Julio Jones, he had 2 receptions for 29 yards. Right?
Anybody can be beat.
And that's coming off a 300-yard game. Like I said, he was going to be shut down, and he was. I had Michael Crabtree as my fight or flight, and he was pretty good. He had 3 receptions, 47 yards, and a TD. So he was pretty solid as well.
Yep. I love it. And obviously, we already talked about it, but Dr. Healy, again, another big winner this week.
You know, you got to spend money to make money, but I didn't have to spend too much. I just had to put it out there.
So what are you up in the past 2 weeks here? $300?
I am up. Yeah, 310.
310 in 2 weeks.
Nice.
Keep that up. You're gonna have a trip paid for by the end of the year, aren't you?
Yeah, I might be taking pictures from the Dominican.
You're not bringing me with?
Yeah, bring us with. Come on.
I got a good-looking lady there.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Bros for hoes, dude.
Yeah.
Bros for hoes.
We'll see what happens.
All right, so moving on to the objective portion. Every week we pick the top projected scoring teams by Vegas. This is done by taking the over and under and the spread of all 16 games and identifying the top 6 scoring teams favored by Vegas odds makers. Dr. Healy, take us away.
All right, so the first game that we have that's projected to score the highest, we have the Carolina Panthers that are going to New Orleans. The over-under is 53 points, and Carolina is projected to take this away by scoring 28 points.
All right, so a couple takes on the Saints defense here to diagnose how you're going to be scoring points, taking Panthers players here. Coming off the bye week, the Saints have done a lot of revamping, I've read, with their defense. Normally they're a 4-3 defense. Obviously, it really hasn't been working out much for them. They're ranked almost last in most categories when it comes to most touchdowns given up in the run, in 8. And what they're doing, they're going to start bringing in more safeties. They call it a 3-safety look hybrid package. What this is going to allow them to do is give more coverage to some of their wideouts, but then give them the versatility to kind of bounce back and forth between a 4-3 base and a nickel defense. Nickel defense is going to be your extra cornerback, someone who can cover better. Okay, some of their versatile players, they said they're able to kind of go back and forth with that. So, I'm not saying the Saints defense they're going to be a completely different defense this week, but I would say that they're really trying to lock more down on the passing game. They want to be able to defend it a little bit more by keeping more defensive back safeties on the field. So with that said, you're looking at kind of a beat-up backfield in Carolina. We're not sure if Jonathan Stewart's going to be playing with a hammy after a couple weeks out. Cameron Artis-Payne could be a play, but that's a tough thing to pick. Regardless, the receivers for the Panthers I think are going to be all right. And it's a high-scoring game. The ball's going to be thrown around a bunch. But look to see, they're going to really start to try to stop the passing game a little bit more because they haven't been very effective with that with this new package.
Is that like middle routes, or are they going to be going for the deep ball guy like Ted Ginn screaming down the sideline? Or
I would say the safety blanket like Greg Olsen again.
In a 3-look safety like this, they're going to bring... They said they're going to try to go from a 4-3 base to a nickel, so hybrid, try to be able to stop their run but also pass. So that tells me you're going to have that safety or extra cornerback when they are in the game come more into the box to help with the run. So that is going to look at more of your outside guys, your home run hitters, outside balls rather than the slot guys.
Okay.
Because if you got a slot receiver in the game is a offense, and you're trying to work the inside of the field, okay, now you're not matched up on a linebacker, you're matched up on a cornerback, which is a better matchup for the defense.
Yes.
So you would think outside receivers, someone like Ted Ginn might hit it home.
Calvin Benjamin, he's due
stays
for a
on
good
the
week.
outside.
Is it Philly Brown?
He's going to stay on the outside. Your X receivers is really something you're going to look. And Cam just got banged up. Cam's the kind of guy who wants to come back. He hasn't been playing very well this year. someone that's going to come out. He wants to try to make a statement. He's probably sick of losing.
Yeah.
And he's finally back. I could see him just start throwing the huck in the ball deep.
They said he practiced today, but he was limited. He's still actually in the concussion protocol.
Okay.
But they're expected him to play. Stewart's kind of up in the air. It's kind of a game time decision. But if he doesn't play, the value they're going to get with Cameron Artis-Payne for what he just did against Tampa Bay, which is a better defense than what New Orleans has, I believe he's a pretty good must start.
I think you're looking for outside home run hitters on this one if you're going to go.
Well, New Orleans defense.
All we hear is about their defense. They can't stop a nosebleed.
One of the worst in the league.
They're not very good.
They're
trying to retool things. So this could go a bunch of different ways. I mean, you get a new look from you've never seen as an offense before. It might kind of mix it up a little bit.
I'm staying away from Cam Newton. That pop that he took on the goal line was pretty vicious. Takes one more hit to put him back in the concussion protocol. And for them, even if he wants to go back in the game, for them to pull him. So I'm staying away from Cam this week, but I do like Calvin Benjamin. I do like Greg Olsen. Obviously, both of those guys were big on Monday night with Derek Anderson even throwing the ball.
All right, on to game number 2. We have the Cincinnati Bengals at the New England Patriots. Patriots coming after a big game, but they're projected to win this game. Scored another 28 points and favored by 9 in this one.
All right, so when it comes to the Bengals defense, they are a base cover 2 most of the time. You're looking for a cover 2. It's going to keep the middle of the field open. Okay, with that, I'm looking at slot receivers and I'm looking at tight ends. We both know what happened with Martellus Bennett last week and Gronk and what he can do. Edelman, I think, is going to fly a little more under the radar. I like slot receivers this week. When you have 2 tight end sets and you push the safeties high, it opens up the middle of the field. So you're looking for receivers in the slot positions to work the middle. Edelman had 10 targets last week. He only caught 5 of them, and he only went for 35 yards. But, Edelman, he catches and runs. So if he can catch and he's got space in the middle of the field, this could be a huge game for him. I like both tight end plays. If you're sketched out about what Martellus said this week and coach being angry about kind of not giving him a bunch of the balls because of what he said, go with Gronk then if you want to pay up for him. But I like Edelman, and I like the middle of the field versus a defense like this.
Somebody's going to catch the balls from the tight end position, and like we said before, they're still running that 2 tight end package and
more
Hogan
than 50%
and Edelman
of the time
on the outside. So you have 4 wideouts there essentially. Tom Brady spreads the ball around again. 28 points projected. Tom Brady's a great cash play. I think he's gonna come in. He's gonna throw the ball around, and anyone on the Patriots again is gonna put up points this week. So.
I agree. And Brady, to go with the Edelman point, is he's for his career. His yards per attempt is only 7.7, so it's not like he's used to throwing deep unless Moss is there. Another guy who we'll be talking about later is I like James White in this too. I think it's going to get quite a bit of receptions. I believe last week he had about 57 yards receiving.
Something like that, yeah.
Right around in that area between the 50 and 60 range. So there's plenty of guys to play here. Next game we have is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Miami Dolphins. The over-under in this game is 47.5, and Pittsburgh's favored by 7.5. to score 27.25 points.
All right, with the Dolphins defense, they're a 4-3. Dominican Sue, Cameron Wake have been looking to try to get a lot. They haven't been doing very effective this year.
No, they
haven't
awful.
been doing much of anything. They've allowed 250 yards passing per game with 8 touchdowns allowed. That's middle to lower of the pack when it comes to yards allowed.
You're paying all that money, and they have at this moment the 32nd ranked rushing defense in the league.
Yeah, so you're looking at Le'Veon there. Rushing defense. I think the Steelers can put up a lot of points this week. I got Big Ben in a lot of my cash games. I do. I like him. I think he's a safe play, and I'd stick with that.
No,
I got to stick with them. It's hard for me to pick Antonio Brown at $10,000.
$10,000.
Not worth the price. I'm going Le'Veon out of the 2.
I really like Sammy Coates again. I am not worried at all about his lacerated
That's
hand.
where we disagree. He dropped 2 touchdowns last week, and he's got a laceration, and he was seen wearing a cast on it today. So I don't think he's going to be effective.
You don't even know where the laceration is. I'm pretty sure it's on his finger, and they wear gloves. So
it affected him last week, or he's just not very good at catching the ball anyway.
It's a pinky nail.
Yeah. He's 4,700, so he's half the price of Antonio Brown, and he outperformed Antonio Brown by over 10 points last week. I'm going Sammy Coates.
I'm just saying, watch injury report before you start him.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Okay. Next game we have is the New York Jets at the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are favored by this one and by 6.5 points, projected at scoring 26.5 points.
The Jets defense, not very good in the secondary. That's
God awful in the secondary.
They're pretty terrible. They're the second most yards given up to any secondary this year. They're averaging 302 yards receiving per game, giving up 12 touchdowns. It's like first to last. It's very close.
And that's with Revis Island.
And that's with Revis, who's really not been much of an island this year.
No.
I like a lot of the passing versus this Jets defense. They've just been terrible, and their one go-to, and Revis hasn't been there for him this year. The one thing that does scare me with this is Carson Palmer coming back off concussion protocol. I mean, he got knocked sillier than Cam Newton did. He didn't even know where he was.
Yeah.
So you never know. You take a hit, or is he really mentally there still? A lot of weapons to choose from on the Arizona side. Now, that being said, the Jets' rush defense is the second best in the league and has only allowed one rushing touchdown the entire year. Now, that's a lot of situational things. I still think David Johnson, I do agree with you, is going to get some out of the backfield.
I mean, they shut down Le'Veon Bell last week in the rushing game, but he had 9 catches for like 90 yards last week. Yeah. So he might make it up there.
I like the passing attack. It's a safe play.
Yeah,
David Johnson's going to put up points. It's just whether or not for the highest priced running back is he going to put up that kind of points.
Yeah,
right?
He's 90 in FanDuel. He's 9,100. Le'Veon Bell is 9,300 in FanDuel, but that's a big price. I mean, that's in FanDuel. That's basically 1/6 of your budget.
Yep,
taken away with one guy.
In DraftKings, David Johnson's actually he's higher than Le'Veon Bell. So I think the player to take, Larry Fitzgerald. I mean,
consistency all the time.
He is, and he grabs the ball. He scores touchdowns. He's a big body. He can break tackles, run after the catch. He can do everything you want. A guy, if you're in a tournament game and you're looking to throw a guy in there for a little bit cheaper who is going to be on the outside, is more of that burner, kind of like Sammy Coates going down the sideline and catching 2 touchdowns, is John Brown. John Brown runs straight down the field, and the Jets honestly could not keep up with Sammy Coates last week. John Brown might not be a bad play or plug and play this week.
Yep, that's a good take.
I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people think. If I had to bet with the spread, I'd probably take the Jets.
Okay.
So we will see what happens with that game. The next game we have is the Atlanta Falcons, the #1 offense in the league, against the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are projected to win this game by 6.5 points by scoring 26.25. Take it away, Dr. Mitch.
This is an interesting lineup. You have the top offense in the entire league, and they're 6-point dogs. It's not very normal to hear that now. They're
12th man.
They're going to the 12th man. They're flying it clear across the country. But they have one of the worst pass defenses in the entire league. They actually do have the worst pass when it comes to 14 touchdowns allowed in the air.
Wow.
14. Now, Falcons, another cover 2 base, 4-3 defense. Middle of the field is going to be open. You know
who's
who
in the middle of the field?
You like your tight ends, baby.
Oh, yeah.
You like your tight ends.
I think we're all laughing here because we love Jimmy Graham this week.
Yes, I don't think there's any dispute with that between all 3 of us this week. So, cover 2. Let's get out those 2 high safeties. Middle of the field's open. There's going to be a lot of linebackers on slot guys and tight ends in certain situations. Not every time, but it's going to force the defense to be put in those situations, and I think those are great matchups for us this week.
I love Jimmy Graham. I think Russell Wilson's a great play. Honestly, again, another guy. They've talked about him having a PCL injury, which is your posterior cruciate ligament. kind of the opposite of the anterior, obviously, but not near as serious.
Not near as severe.
Not
no.
near as serious. And Dr. Mitch and I were talking about this earlier. When Dr. Mitch was playing, he actually played with a few guys who had torn PCLs, and how'd they perform?
You can play on it. I mean, it's more pain dictating.
Yeah, so they were able to cut. They were able to do everything they needed to do physically to get in positions, make tackles, and make plays. So, Coach came out and said Tyler Lockett's going to be more involved in the game plan. He had a week and a half to rest off that bye. Tyler Lockett started off the season around $5,000. He's dropped to $3,600, and he will be super low owned in tournament games.
And that injury was a couple of weeks ago. They've had time to rest him, and I believe they're coming off a bye, correct?
Yeah.
So you can expect him to do some big things. So, all right, we're in the last game that we have for you for the week, and that's going to be the 49ers at the Buffalo Bills. The over-under is 44, and Buffalo is favored by 8 points in this one to score 26.
All right, so when we're talking about the Niners defense, they're a 4-3 hybrid, a little bit of 3-4 mixed in there. They do a little bit of everything, but the biggest take with this, I'm looking at Colin Kaepernick coming into position first week in. I just don't see long sustained drives from the San Francisco offense. And what that does is it puts more of the Bills on the field more often. A Chip Kelly offense, it's a high pace. If you don't convert, you're 3-and-out real quick. That's going to put the Niners defense on the field a lot with the Bills, who's been playing very well, and the Bills defense has been playing very well. And you're playing, and Niners defense is the second most rushing yards given up per game at 146 per week. I think
LaShawn McCoy, baby.
I like LaShawn. He's a great pick this week.
Man, this is another opportunity. We're talking about value picks here. Tyrod Taylor. I mean, depends on how much you trust the guy, but even a check down to LaShawn with a quick shake and bake could be a huge gain for a touchdown. Tyrod Taylor could run one in himself, and I think we're all on board with the Bills defense this week, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think they're going to be the number one scoring defense this week for sure. Oh. There's also a couple of good sleepers. We talked about Marquise Goodwin, the track star.
Yep.
He's got a chance of going deep. I mean, Sammy Watkins is on IR, so that gives some opportunities there.
Dr. Mitch, you like Robert Woods?
Yeah, Robert Woods. He's increased his targets. He's averaging anywhere from 5, 6. I think a couple weeks he had 7 targets. With Sammy Watkins out, they're talking it's been Woods from Tyrod his favorite target. He's only getting better now. Possibly with Marquise.
Yeah, Marquise.
Marquise. I mean, could hit a home run ball, but I think Robert Woods is going to be more of your heavily targeted.
Yep.
Dink and dunk, go down the field a little bit, where Marquise can be deep. He's a track star, so.
All right, so now we're moving on. We have our first sponsor, and that sponsor is PubPicks. If you don't have this app, you must download this app.
PubPicks, huh?
PubPicks. It's completely free. You can go to your Google Store. You can go onto your Apple Store. Either or is just fine. So basically what it is, they'll give you 10 games to choose from each week, and all you do is pick the winners, and you win free stuff. For instance, last week I won free bowling at a local bar, and I also won free beer. Won one free beer the first week. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, PubPicks.
So you're telling me on this PubPicks that I download the app, and then is it only football, or what kind of games are we picking to win?
So they have a variety of games. For instance, they had a couple of baseball games. They had a couple of college football games, NFL games. They even had a Lynx game in there.
Nice.
Okay.
So you picking the Lynx to win.
You watch the game at the bar, wherever you're at.
Something
you win,
to cheer for.
And you immediately get like a coupon, and then you can redeem it. How's that work?
So basically what you do, you go to the establishment it says you won this prize. You go to the establishment, all you do is just hand it to the waitress and say, can I just redeem this? They click, boom, redeem, you get the free beer.
Okay, that's great. Sounds easy, simple.
Love it.
Again, that is PubPicks.
Thank you, PubPicks.
PICKS. And if any of you guys out there who are listening on Periscope or on the podcast would like to advertise with us, just send us an email. Our email is fantasysportdrs@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
All right, so now moving on, we have our tournament and cash games. As we talked about this week, I think, generally speaking, how many games have you guys been playing recently? I know I've been in the 10 to 15 range.
Nick's a little heavier, smaller dollar amounts, but a lot more games.
I've been playing a lot of games.
I'm probably in between both you two. I'm playing anywhere between like 8 to 10.
Okay.
And I'm actually playing a little less. So far on DraftKings, I usually put my big 50-50 on, which I'm undefeated at. I'm playing heads-to-heads or in the 50. So I get most of my money from there. And then I play 2 or 3 tournament games. Yep. And then in Fanduel, I'll usually do like a $10 double up or a $20 double up, and then I'll have 3 to 4. So if you combine both of them, I'm right around 7.
Yeah, awesome. So we're each playing, between 7 and 10 games a week. I think of those lineups, we're all the consensus here. We're going to probably pick at least 5 games that are cash games, and play the cash games, and maybe only play like 1 or 2 or 3 games that are tournament style games. So
you want to play the tournaments just in case you hit it.
Just in case
it's worth
you call
$1 or
every
$2
person
for...
right. You gotta put that. It's like a Powerball, right?
But like we said,
a little bit better odds, but
a little better odds.
But
probably,
like we said,
a little bit more
that's
skill.
why you have the cash games, just so you can play the tournament games.
Bet.
Well, you kind of hedge a bet, and you can win more money playing cash games
on a consistent basis. Yes.
Yeah, going over some of the stats in the first 5 weeks, it takes about 140 DraftKings points to win money in cash games. Remember, our cash games are double ups, 50-50s, head-to-heads, even your triple ups. 140 points will get you to basically double your money.
Yep.
Tournament games, remember, a little bit lower buy-in, obviously way bigger potential, a lot more people playing with you. In order to win in tournament games, you're talking at least 160 points. So to break that down even further, cash games, you're looking for about 15 points per player.
15 points, eh?
And for tournament games, you're looking at between 17 and 18 points per player. Remember, that's counting the defense. So realistically, in tournament games, you're probably looking for 20 to 25 points out of each one of your players.
Unless you play Buffalo this weekend.
Unless you play Buffalo or the Vikings. So, moving on this week, we are playing for tournaments. We are playing the $4,000 Sunday NFL Snap, which is a $2 buy-in through FanDuel. And through DraftKings, we're playing the $500,000 kickoff special, which is a $4 buy-in. Moving on, we have our
Fight or flight players.
All right, my first fight or flight player of the week. We already kind of talked about him. That is James White of the New England Patriots. He's going to cost you $5,700 in FanDuel and only $4,100 in DraftKings. Last week, he had 5 carries for 26 yards, but as I mentioned, he had 4 receptions for 63 yards. And because of the defensive scheme of what Cincinnati plays, he's going to be open. Averaging a career, Tom Brady, in his career against the Cincinnati Bengals in 6 games, averaging 7.43 yards per attempt. Also, they allow running backs to have quite a bit of receptions. Forte had 5 receptions for 59 yards. D'Angelo Williams had 4 receptions for 38 yards and a touchdown. And Zeke had 3 receptions for 37 yards. And those guys are not pass specialty backs other than Forte. So I'm liking James White.
Well, top of the morning to you.
Good start. Good play. Good play. My tournament game fight or flight player is Cameron Artis-Payne.
The guy is drunk.
No, I like it.
There's a little caveat to this. So obviously it depends on what Jonathan Stewart's doing.
Yes.
But the Carolina is going up against the Saints defense, who's allowing a 4.6 yards per carry. Like second worst in the league. A lot of potential in any running game. And like I said before, Saints defense is making a change this week. A tweak to a defense, trying new thing, could blow up in your face too. So you put an extra cornerback on the field in their 3 safety look. They say it's going to be a hybrid and they're going to try to help with the run defense, but that's one less linebacker to fill a hole,
especially from a running back. I mean,
yes,
running back.
And Cameron Artis Payne is only $3,700 on super cheap.
I got a question for you, Dr. Mitch. How do you think Cam Newton having him back in the offense? Because Cameron Artis Payne was obviously getting the goal line carries, and with Cam Newton in there, do you think they're going to risk him again and have him try to fight through that goal line, or do you think they're going to hand it off?
Fighting through the goal line when it comes to Cam, he's going to run if he wants to run, whether it's a play call for him or not. They're not going to call a run to Cam. That's not going to happen.
I was just going to say,
absolutely not.
With the concussion at the goal line last week,
but
weeks ago?
But his that was a scramble. It wasn't even a called run
and he kind of
play.
started step. He's like, I got this, and he goes, oh shit.
So I think he's going to be smart. And if Jonathan Stewart, it could take one play of him repopping that hammy. If Jonathan Stewart is kind of a no-go, I think that's a great fight or flight pick for $3,700. Really good there. So,
all right. So remember when we're doing this, and this week with my players, my fight or flight, my flat line, and my essential, I went into this thinking I'm going to pick a fight or flight player that I can pair with an essential player, because a fight or flight player is a guy who's maybe a value pick, a little bit lower owned, a little bit less on the price scale, but it allows you to buy big on another player.
Kind of like what I did last week with
Well, it is,
Tom Brady, yeah.
Yeah, and you have to hit on that. That's the key.
You do.
You have to hit.
Did.
You have. If you're going to pay up for the big guys, they got to hit. So this week I'll give you a big guy that is not going to hit, and I will give you an essential player that you can use the money that you make up with this pick to play. So my pick for fight or flight is going to be Tyler Lockett. We kind of already touched on him. I know he's got a PCL injury. I love the fact that that's going to scare people away. People are going to look at it. They're going to be like, "No way."
That's a good point.
PCL. I'm not taking that guy. He's hurt. He's not going to play. Coach comes out and addresses it. Says he's going to be, in the game plan more. The very first week, he was in for 90% of the plays. Ever since he got hurt, he's only been in for 40 to 50% of the plays. Got a couple of weeks off here. I think he comes back out. He's in for 90% of the plays, and I think Tyler Lockett has a great chance of catching a lot of balls and going deep.
Good take.
Moving on.
Fantasy Flatliner.
All right, my fantasy flatliner of the week is going to be Matt Ryan going against that Seattle defense, who, by the way, is number one against the pass. They are only allowing 189 yards per game passing. They've only given up one passing touchdown to 4 interceptions. And don't forget about that. They already have 12 sacks on the quarterback. And Matt Ryan is not exactly a mobile quarterback. He's going to cost you $7,600 in Fanduel and $6,700 in DraftKings. Matt Ryan is my flatline of the week.
I'm going to crush you on here in front of everybody because I'm tired of hearing about it.
And that's exactly what Richard Sherman is going to do to Matt Ryan.
Yeah. My fantasy flatline for cash games is the exact same player. I think that's a great call, Dr. Healy. He is traveling across country. People are going to be real high on him. 500 yards passing a couple weeks ago. They're looking really great. They just beat the Denver Broncos, which is a good play on there.
But he still didn't look very good against the Denver Broncos.
He is not going to perform to what you have to pay for $6,700. I think there's a lot of better value out there for quarterbacks this week than Matt Ryan. I would steer clear of him. 12th man's going to get the best of him.
You guys were all on the same page here. I'm going Julio Jones, and he's lining up next to a guy named Richard Sherman, who's going to be saying this.
In my 24 years of life, I'm better at life than you.
He might be 27, so now he's got a couple
more years. He's more experienced.
Even more years being better.
Wisdom. Flatliner for $8,900. Julio Jones. He's playing, like you guys said, one of the best pass defenses in the league, going up against one of the biggest shutdown corners. Richard Sherman's going to come to play at home, and they've only given up one touchdown. And you know what? Maybe Julio gets into the end zone once, but he's not going to live up to that $8,900.
Yeah, and Julio
potential.
proved it after his 300-yard game that he can't do that against everybody. He had 2 catches for 29 yards last week. So,
Oh, you ain't going 500. You ain't going 300 yards receiving every week. I'll tell you that.
no, unless you're playing a South team from the NFC. Otherwise, no.
Spring break in the ghetto.
Nice.
love
All right,
that
so
one.
we are on to our essential picks. Now, these picks, like Dr. Curry said earlier, are picks that you must play. My must play for this week is DeMarco Murray. He's going to cost you a little bit, but he's going to be well worth it. He's going to be $8,800 in Fanduel and $7,700 in DraftKings. He is second in the lead from yards from scrimmage. He averages 126.6 yards per game. And the Cleveland defense is giving up 29.6 points per game. So who do you think is going to be scoring that from Tennessee? I'm guessing DeMarco Murray.
Tajay Sharp.
If he's lucky. Just kidding.
Just kidding. He hasn't scored yet,
Not to mention Cleveland has the 22nd worst run defense in the league, giving up 114 yards per game. So that's going to bear well for DeMarco Murray.
All right. So my essential pick for your tournament games this week is a player we've talked a fair amount about already, is Jimmy Graham. Seattle's offense is only getting better each week. You're going to play against a defense in Atlanta that has given up the most touchdowns. We talked about the kind of defense that they run. It's a cover 2. Middle of the field is going to be open. Now, the Falcons only given up 290 yards of passing, which isn't the worst in the league. It's middle of the pack to worst. But 14 touchdowns, that means a lot of those are probably more red zone targets. You want to know who gets red zone targets for Seattle and are the bigger targets, which is Jimmy Graham. Jump balls, go get it. I love Jimmy Graham this week. He's an essential play. He's looking at $4,900 in DraftKings and $6,900 for FanDuel. It's a great value. You got to play him in all your lineups.
Congratulations. See you in Pittsburgh. Can't wait.
Yep.
Can't wait for Jimmy Graham.
It's going to be a good one this week.
He is going to blow up this
I like
week.
it.
I love it. My essential pick for this week, and I honestly think you should pair him in all of your tournament lineups with Tyler Lockett, is Calvin Benjamin. He's playing the 30th ranked defense in the league in New Orleans. They're already trying to come up with new ways to play defense. So they don't even know how to play defense right now. They're trying to figure it out.
New.
So Calvin Benjamin, who's a stud and has come back and bounced back from last season, he's got Cam throwing him the ball again.
Cam likes him a lot.
You know what? I fully expect Calvin Benjamin to get in the end zone at least once this week, and I think he has a ton of yards in DraftKings. If he goes over 100, remember that's a bonus. I think he easily has the potential to go over 100 yards this week against New Orleans defense.
Oh, completely agree with you there.
Love it. Moving on, we got the cash games. In cash games, I am choosing a lot of $5 and $10 double ups, and I'm doing the massive double ups, guys. When we play massive double ups, you're playing anywhere between 5 and 10,000 people. That means you only have to be in the top 45%. So you're looking at if you play a $10 double up, there's 10,000 people. You have to be better than 6,000 people. That's it. So
I like those odds.
Definitely better than 6,000 people.
We're way better than 6,000 people. It's weird. I play a lot of these cash games, and I mix them in with the tournament games. And for some reason, my cash games, I'm always like,
why didn't I play that in the tournament?
300 out of 29,000 in cash games, and then my other
Different
ones
strategies, though. But you got to realize if you throw that into a tournament game, there's a lot of people that picked 3 sleepers and hit in all 3 of them, and you would have never even thought to play that in the cash game. So you take that with a grain of
Marcus
salt.
Mariota being the number 1 quarterback last week.
Or Cameron Meredith.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was my second pick for the week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Swing.
Yeah, right.
Swing.
Yeah, so no, I didn't even hear about Cameron Meredith until he blew up. So
90% of the United States have never heard about Cam Meredith.
Unless you lived in Chicago.
And
Yeah.
even then, I don't even know what they knew who it was.
yeah, it's crazy. So
It's like they're Adam Thielen. Everybody in Minnesota knows him, loves him.
yeah, that's true. Actually, I mean, a lot of people didn't know who Adam Thielen is. You think about that. Adam Thielen's from
he's from
Mankato.
Detroit
He's from
Lake.
Detroit Lakes.
But then a Mankato State
Yeah.
grad. I mean,
And then
you talk to somebody down in the South, they're like, Mankato State player.
that?
By the way,
Are
just
you
throwing out
kidding me?
there, UMD crushed Mankato when they played them. Just throwing it out there.
Well, it's okay.
Got to throw a college out,
We don't have too many players in the NFL, but that's okay. So we got for our cash games coming up, we got our
or flight players.
All right, for my fight or flight for cash games, I love this guy in your lineup, and it kills me because he's a Green Bay Packer, and I'm not a huge Green Bay Packer fan.
Tell me more.
He's going to cost $5,400 in Fanduel and $3,900 in DraftKings. Devontae Adams. I like Devontae Adams.
That was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
They're playing at Dallas, who is the 21st ranked passing defense. But they're normally okay against the number ones. Let me give you some numbers from the number twos they played.
Give it to me, numbers guy.
Last
Give it to me.
5 games. Last week, Cincinnati's Brandon LaFell went off, had 8 receptions for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns. The week before, a guy from Dallas by the name of Bryce Butler gave up 5 receptions, 41 and touchdown. All right, next one. We have Kevin White from Chicago. 6 receptions for 62 yards. Next one, we have Washington, Jamison Crowder. 6 receptions, 39 yards and a touchdown. Next one, we have the Giants, Sterling Shepard. 3 receptions, 43 yards and a touchdown. Also, Devontae Adams has scored 3 of the last 4 games. I think is almost
a lot of numbers, and I like them.
That is.
I like it.
You know you like it, Dr. Curry.
yeah.
So here's the deal. What he failed to say was that Randall Cobb on that last play of the game on Sunday night went down pretty hard on his neck. He's dealing with a neck injury. I've seen him get injured before. Next man up, Devontae Adams, second wide receiver in a high-powered offense.
Should probably go see a chiropractor.
Definitely.
Probably. He had 10 targets last week, Devontae Adams said so.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, on to my real pick here. All right, so my fight or flight for cash games is Julian Edelman. I like this pick. This is a really solid pick, even though it's my fight or flight.
The guy is drunk.
Little bust. So, like we said before, Pats playing the Bengals, cover 2 defense, middle of the field's open again, like we said. 2 tight end sets like the Patriots play more than 50% of the time. It's going to open up the middle of the field. Julian Edelman had a bunch of targets last week. He just didn't capitalize on them. Julian Edelman, $6,800 in DraftKings, $7,200 in FanDuel. A little bit more expensive than my usual fight or flight, but I think he's going to have a huge week this week. I really think it. He's not superly overpriced. You get 15 points out of him, which is easy, especially in DraftKings with the receptions per 1 point per.
Which is what you need to average for cash games.
There you go. I love Julian Edelman this week versus the Bengals.
Perfect. Love it. I am going for my fight or flight player for cash games. I'm going Sammy Coates, and I know Dr. Healy over here is very concerned about his pinky. And
you don't know if it's pinky. He had a why would he have a cast on his arm?
My fingers hurt. My fingers hurt.
Yeah, don't blame me. Blame him. He dropped 2 touchdown passes.
Man, if this guy sits out
landscaping duty.
If this guy sits out because his fingers hurt,
he's kind of a little bitch.
Yes, 100%.
He's on Randall Cobb's level then.
No, seriously though, $10,000 for Antonio Brown. Sammy Coates comes in at less than half that price. Sammy Coates targeted maybe 1 or 2 balls less than Antonio Brown, and should have had he should have had like 4 touchdowns last week. Could have been easily the best fantasy performing player. Sammy Coates, another great opportunity to go big.
There we go.
Or go home.
Good.
Right?
I like it.
All right.
Fight or flight.
Woo-woo.
Moving on.
Fantasy Flatliner.
All right, there's a reason I do all these numbers during my cash games because I'm very successful at my cash games. So this is why I break them down.
Do tell. I want to know all the deets.
All right, so we have Alshon Jeffrey is going to be my flatline of the week. He's going to cost you $7,600 in FanDuel and $7,100 in DraftKings. He's playing the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. Usually people don't think much of them, but they're actually the 3rd-ranked passing defense in the league.
Child, please.
Good take.
Also, his quarterback doesn't really like him.
How'd you hear that stat?
Because look at the last 3 games. 5 receptions for 70 yards, best performance. 0 touchdowns. 3 receptions for 46 yards, 0 touchdowns. 5 for 77 and 0 touchdowns. That's averaging 4 receptions a game for 64 yards and 0 touchdowns.
You're talking Alshon Jeffrey, right?
Yeah, I'm talking Alshon Jeffrey.
So you mean Brian Hoyer?
Hoyer
does not like him at all.
Hoyer's not finding him.
Nope. So that's my flatline of the week.
All right, I like it.
My fantasy flatliner of the week is David Johnson. He's going up against
Yes.
Child, please.
I think
You think you can stop me, period.
David
Kiss
Johnson
the baby.
has been going off for the last couple weeks. He's a good player. Going against the Jets defense, second in the league. There is one strong point of this Jets defense, and it is the run defense. Now, if David Johnson does get in going, it's going to be flaring, catching balls out of the backfield, which he can. He can. I just don't think he's going to live up to his price of $8,000 on DraftKings or $9,000 on Fanduel. You're looking at 18 to 19, 20 points to really get your value out of that. I don't know if I see that, especially versus. I think the Cards see how bad the secondary is, and they're going to try to take advantage of passing the ball versus them. They got so many targets,
especially in FanDuel because it's only half point PPR.
Exactly. So I think you stay away from David Johnson this week. He ain't gonna throw a goose egg up, but he ain't gonna perform like he should.
Well, you stole my flat line of the week because I was going with David Johnson.
That's a good pick
for all of those reasons, and obviously, again, playing a stout defense like that, I definitely don't like the running game there. You're right; he could come in, he could catch some balls, but you said $8,000. Is he really going to perform up to 20 points? Which means he's got to run for 50 to 100 yards, catch 5 to 6 balls for 50 yards, and score a touchdown. I suppose it's possible, but I'm leaning towards not there. So I got to agree with you, going David Johnson there.
All right, I got my essential pick of the week, and I love this guy a lot this week, and that is LaShawn McCoy. He's going to cost you a little bit, and FanDuel is going to cost you $8,200, and in DraftKings, he's going to only cost you $6,900. This guy ranks 4th in yards from scrimmage of the year at 542 yards of offense. That accounts for 35% of the team's offense.
Straight cash, homie.
God, you're good with numbers.
Oh, I'm good with numbers.
It.
Oh, yeah. Analytics, baby. All right. This is what San Francisco's 31st ranked rushing defense has done again in the last 4 weeks. David Johnson has had 157 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Ezekiel Elliott, 138 with 1 touchdown.
The guy is drunk.
Christian Michael, 106 and 2 touchdowns. And a guy named Fozzie Whitaker, who's a backup to Cameron Artis-Payne, had 16 carries for 100 yards. There's not a single guy who's got under 100 yards. LaShawn McCoy is my essential of the week.
I think we all love LaShawn McCoy this week.
Yep.
The guy is obviously the best player on the Bills offense.
Is that your pick over there too?
No. I mean, you can take it, but we love LaShawn McCoy. I was just going to say, with your numbers that you're rattling off there, you remind me of a guy named Kenneth Bone.
Ken Bone?
Ken Bone.
I know Ken Bone.
He's a numbers guy, that's for sure.
Well, that's cool. I don't know who the hell Ken Bone is. But Ken Bone
is a red-sweatered debater. Debater.
Oh, my gosh. Get out of here.
Dr. Mitch, who do you got for your essential guy?
He's a red-sweated Ned Flanders. My essential pick is exactly what you said. LaShawn McCoy. It's a great choice this week. My reasoning is a little different, but he's going up against a Niners defense that gives up second most rushing offense, and you're playing against a leading person from scrimmage and yardage in the league. I think this is a great matchup for LaShawn. You're putting a new dynamic into the Niners offense, not knowing if it's going to work, in a coach that likes a high-pace offense. That sounds like a lot of 3-and-outs to me very, very quickly, and a lot of time for LaShawn to be on the field to score points. That's why I love this matchup.
Love it. I think LaShawn McCoy, even at the end of the game, he could have some yards that are meaningless yards, right?
And don't forget what he does in the air as well. He catches a lot of balls.
For sure.
4 to 5 balls a game, easy.
He looks good. My essential player is Russell Wilson. I love it. $6,900. He's lower priced than Aaron Rodgers. He's lower priced than Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, and he's playing a team that gives up like the most yards and touchdowns to any other team in the NFL. Falcons, again, they're giving up 32 points to opposing teams. They're playing in Seattle, 12th man. I fully expect Russell Wilson to jump out ahead here, throwing the ball a lot. Christine Michael's a great play. Realistically, you could put any Seattle player in really in the cash game, and I think they're going to do all right for you. I really like Seattle this week.
And look what he did 2 weeks ago with basically 2 hurt ankles and knees.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
he's had time to heal.
He put up 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against a much better pass defense that he had to go against. I love that pick. I'm really huge on pairing Russell Wilson with either Gronk. You can do Baldwin. You could do Lockett. Lockett's a little
Jimmy Graham.
I love
is that what
Jimmy.
You meant to say?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can put Gronk in the lineup with him, but I like Jimmy Graham as his own tight end to score at least 1 touchdown. I mean, Jimmy Graham's going to get at least 1 red zone target, and I think he comes down with it.
And last 2 games, he's had over 100 yards.
Yeah,
so
I like him a lot, especially for his price.
So, moving on. Well, that's it for our tournament and cash games. We're going to give you the prescription to win. Remember, the prescription to win is 2 lineups, 1 through DraftKings, 1 through Fanduel. Last week we had a little bit of a mishap.
Yeah, that was my bad. So apparently there's an H. Henry guy for Green Bay at tight end position. So we kind of had to finagle a few things.
We moved some things around on you guys. So if you tried to use our lineups last week, they didn't work. Only in FanDuel.
But hey, if you decide, hey, that didn't work for me, and you added Bennett, then hashtag you're welcome.
Yeah.
Well,
Does he fit in?
Applause there. Yeah. Hashtag you're welcome. Trust us, we're doctors. So no, these lineups, we guarantee you these lineups do work. We checked and double checked them. You can go through FanDuel and you could go through DraftKings and you could play these lineups. Last week our DraftKings lineup was 139 points. So if you played a cash game, that's right on the edge of winning money.
And if you played the correct cash game, you probably did win money. If you did a heads up.
Yeah, heads up. Someone out there, you probably won money last week on that one. So FanDuel, you're definitely winning money. I don't know exactly how many points we scored there, but
of that one with the lineup we ended up putting in, we scored 119 points actually.
There you go.
So
FanDuel's a little different, a little bit lower point scale. Remember, FanDuel, you only get half a point for catching balls.
Yeah.
Whereas you get a full point PPR in DraftKings. So DraftKings,
but it kind of depends on who you put in, because we did mention that we messed up on the tight end, and if you put in a better tight end, then who knows?
If you actually did have Hunter Henry and he did catch a touchdown, so
yeah. So
that was good.
That would have boosted up with his touchdown probably another 10, 15 points.
Yeah.
Because Richard Rodgers did not do anything last week.
Yeah, that was probably our one fail last week was Richard Rodgers. So
all right, so we're moving on to it. So we have our DraftKings lineup. We are playing at quarterback. That's going to be Russell Wilson. He's going to cost you $6,900. Following up with both mine and Dr. Mitch's essential play of the week, LaShawn McCoy, a little shady at $6,900. And then we're going with the cheeseburger. Green Bay Packer Eddie Lacy.
Cheeseburger. All right. So just a reminder, the DraftKings lineup we are playing is the $500K kickoff special. It's a $4 buy-in. Okay. So
it's Monday or Sunday through Monday games.
Sunday through Monday. There's no Thursday included in this one. So we did the Russell Wilson, LaShawn McCoy, Eddie Lacy. Now our receivers, we went Larry Fitzgerald, Julian Edelman, and Devontae Adams. And then take away, we got the rest here.
Well, we like Devontae Adams because he could be that next man up with Randall Cobb going down. He's caught a bunch of touchdowns. Edelman, we think he's going to be huge.
I think he's going to have a huge day.
Yeah, he's going to get the ball. He was Brady's favorite receiver. He's going to get the ball sometime. And Fitz is the man.
He's been getting a lot of targets in general. He's going to keep getting them.
For our tight end, we chose Jimmy Graham. Obviously. Yep. Pair him with Russell Wilson. I just don't see how you guys can make a lineup without Russell Wilson and Jimmy Graham in your lineups. I mean, you have to have them in there.
It's a good play this week.
Yeah. So then we went with our flex. We actually went Robert Woods. This is a little bit of a sneaky play here. I think Robert Woods is going to catch some balls. I like him more in DraftKings than FanDuel because you're going to get a full point for each time he catches that ball.
He's been 5 to 7 targets over the last 3 weeks, and Sammy Watkins is out still. Yeah, he's still going to get
Robert Woods could easily catch a touchdown.
Easy.
Yeah, they're going to cost you the same price in FanDuel. I like Robert Woods better in DraftKings, but because it's a half-point PPR in FanDuel, I like Marquise Goodwin for his upside of getting the deep
home run hit. Yep.
Yeah, in FanDuel is Marquise Goodwin, and in DraftKings, Robert Woods. And follow it up, we're going to go with the Pack. And the reason why we chose the Packers is they're cheap. I think they're coming in at like $2,800 in DraftKings.
Sounds about right.
Do you know what? Well, they are cheap. Then they love cheese. They are playing a rookie quarterback who hasn't thrown a pick yet.
I think that first pick could be in Lambeau. I'd hate to agree with Dr. Curry over here, but
this could be a week where he throws a pick.
I could see that happening.
And best run stuffing defense, or second best in the league right now. Zeke's going to have maybe a little bit tougher day playing that. And
force him to throw the ball a little bit more.
Yep. So I got to say I like the Packers.
Dez is probably out too.
Yeah. Dez out. Yeah, I like the Pack there. So.
Okay.
Dr. Healy, what do you think for FanDuel?
For FanDuel, we're playing the 400,000 Sunday NFL Snap. It's a Sunday only, and it's going to cost you $2 to join. And again, we are going to start out with quarterback with Russell Wilson. It's going to cost you $8,400. We got our boy Shady again for $8,200, and then we're going to go with my fight or flight player of the week, and that's James White with $5,700.
All right, and now for our receivers. We are going to go with Calvin Benjamin, and we're looking for a bounce back from Cam here. Big target versus a terrible, not sure what they're going to do anymore defense in New Orleans.
Figure it out
defense. It could blow up. I think that could be a good play there. Doug Baldwin is a great pair with Russell Wilson. If the balls are going to be going a lot, I think Russell Wilson will have a big week this week.
I'm expecting 3 or 4 touchdowns.
14 touchdowns Atlanta's given up in the air, the most in the NFL. There's targets are going to go places, and I think those are going to be Doug Baldwin could be one of those. And then we're going to go Devontae Adams again in the same lineup. We like him.
Yep,
love it. For tight end, we're sticking with Jimmy Graham. You know what? We looked at it. We're like, yeah, you could use Gronk. Yeah, you could use Martellus Bennett, but who's going to get the balls? I mean, Gronk missed a touchdown by this much last week. And, I mean, that could have been 4 touchdowns to the tight ends in New England. They could easily score a lot of points, or it could be all Gronk, or it could be all Martellus Bennett. I don't want to be wrong.
In these tournament games, though, the value of what you're buying in at Jimmy Graham right now at the 4,900 in DraftKings and FanDuel, I'm not sure what it is, but
6,700 or something for Gronk.
It's such a good value for. I think he's just going to have a great week.
Yep.
I'll compare. Okay, so Gronk and FanDuel is going to cost you $8,400. Where Jimmy Graham's only going to cost you $6,900, and I really think they're going to have very comparable games. Like we said earlier, Jimmy Graham has had 2 games over 100 yards.
Yeah,
and
there was a long time where Jimmy Graham was considered number 2 in the league, maybe number 1.
He had 15 touchdowns one year.
I gotta say, I think
they're not throw the ball to an athletic player like that.
No, agreed. I think they're just figuring out how to use them.
Yep. So we got Jimmy Graham in the tight end for kicker, because remember in FanDuel we do kickers. We're taking Vinatieri because
he's Vinatieri.
He's awesome and he's old and he kicks the ball straight.
The Colts can't finish in the red zone. And
yep. So all of
the above.
And they're playing against Houston, who's got a pretty good defense. So.
Yeah. So we like Vinatieri. And instead of the Packers in this one, we're going with Buffalo. We're thinking, There's two Colin Kaepernicks, one that runs all over a defense and one that looks terrible. And we're thinking the one that looks terrible is going to show up on Sunday.
Well, what did he do last year? Nothing.
We definitely know he's going to be kneeling.
Yeah.
At some point. He's going to be kneeling.
Nice toss in there. I like it.
Nice.
Do you guys have anything else to add this week? Any other players that you really like, or you maybe want to stay away from?
Ray Finkel.
Why left?
He is
Demarius Thacteratris.
Mary Thacteratris.
No, I mean, now that we kind of went through it, Ezekiel Elliott's been crushing it. He's, I believe he's 3rd from yards from scrimmage. He's crushing it. He's being fed the ball. But like you mentioned, the Packers have the first best run defense in the league.
Yeah.
So that's going to kind of.
I don't know. That's
a struggle.
It's tough for me. I'm a Packers fan. I kind of like the Packers defense there, and I understand that they've shut down running backs. But let's think about.
I could take that as a bold prediction this week that Dak just poops the bed.
Well, let's
throws like 3 interceptions in Lambeau.
I mean, who have the Packers played? The Packers played Jerick McKinnon, Nasiata, Theo Riddick, Orleans Darkwa. And
not a lot of great running backs.
They haven't played
Yeldon, TJ Yeldon.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't played good running backs. It's up in the air on what Zeke's going to do or how good that run defense really is. So take that with a grain of salt.
He's going to cost you quite a bit of money, though.
Yeah, either way, he's going to cost a lot.
Yeah.
I'm still interested in Terrell Pryor. I like Terrell Pryor. He's like one of their only offensive weapons. They're going to have to score some points to be competitive.
Somebody dropped him last week, and I picked him up on one of my leagues.
Kidding me?
Nope, not at all. It cost me. I just dropped like $10 at it, see if I'd pick him up, and I did.
He's playing the Titans, so I mean, it's not. Is McCown starting? We don't even know. Is McCown starting there?
No, it's that Kessler guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, there's that. A guy who I do really like when we were talking about the tight ends. I like Delaney Walker because he's actually going to be truly their number one, and their defense for Cleveland, we said, is pretty damn bad.
Yeah, Delaney Walker's a good play this week as well. So
that's the one that Bennett just got 3 touchdowns off of. So just look for that as well.
All right, guys.
Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Check out our videos on YouTube. If you like us on Periscope, what up, Periscope? Give us some love.
Yeah.
We're here every Wednesday night, every Sunday morning. We do a Stardom Sit-'em. So if you have daily fantasy or weekly season-long fantasy questions, come on in. It'll be one of the two of us. We'll be talking
10 o'clock Central Time.
10 o'clock-ish.
10 o'clock-ish Central Time.
And, we're on iTunes and Stitcher. Make sure to follow us and subscribe to our stuff. You got anything else to add?
Yeah. Make sure you go download that app, Pub Picks. Go get
Pub Picks.
Yep, and go get some free beer with that. Otherwise, if you guys would like to advertise with us, again, our email is fantasysport, SPORTDRS, @gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it, everybody.
Go win money.